The year 2020. The world watched in disbelief. A novel virus, COVID-19, swept across the globe. It brought with it fear, lockdowns, and a staggering death toll. In the midst of this crisis, questions arose. Where did this virus come from? Was it a natural event, or was there something more sinister at play? Conspiracy theories flourished. Some whispered of a lab leak, a scientific experiment gone wrong. Others pointed fingers at governments, accusing them of using the pandemic for control. The pharmaceutical industry too came under scrutiny, accused of profiting from fear. In the following sections, we will delve into these questions. We will examine the evidence, explore the theories, and seek answers from experts. Our goal is not to fuel suspicion, but to shed light on one of the most consequential events in modern history. The COVID-19 pandemic has left an indelible mark on our world. It has challenged our understanding of science, government, and even our own mortality. As we grapple with its legacy, it is essential to seek truth and understanding. Only then can we hope to navigate the uncertainties that lie ahead. The scientific consensus points to a zoonotic origin for COVID-19. This means the virus likely jumped from an animal to a human. Bats are considered the most likely natural reservoir. The virus then may have passed through an intermediary animal before infecting humans. The Huanan seafood wholesale market in Wuhan, China, was initially identified as a potential source of the outbreak. This market sold live animals, increasing the risk of animal-to-human transmission. However, the exact link between the market and the virus's origins remains unclear. The World Health Organization conducted an investigation into the origins of the virus. Their report, released in 2021, concluded that a zoonotic origin was the most likely scenario. However, the report also acknowledged the need for further investigation. The natural origin theory is supported by the history of pandemics. Many previous outbreaks, such as SARS and Ebola, have originated from animals. The COVID-19 pandemic, while devastating, follows a pattern familiar to epidemiologists. Despite the official narrative, the lab leak hypothesis persists. This theory posits that the virus accidentally escaped from a laboratory in Wuhan. Proponents point to the presence of the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which conducted research on bat coronaviruses. The WIV's proximity to the initial outbreak fueled speculation. Some researchers at the institute had previously published studies on bat coronaviruses that shared genetic similarities with COVID-19. This raised concerns about potential lab safety protocols. However, there is no direct evidence to support the lab leak theory. No evidence suggests that the WIV housed a virus identical to COVID-19 before the outbreak. Additionally, many scientists argue that the virus's genetic makeup is more consistent with natural evolution. The lab leak theory gained traction in the media and among some government officials. However, it remains a hypothesis. Without concrete evidence, it is impossible to definitively prove or disprove. The COVID-19 pandemic led to unprecedented government actions. Lockdowns, mask mandates, and vaccine passports became commonplace. While these measures were implemented to control the spread of the virus, they also fueled conspiracy theories. Some believe that governments used the pandemic as a pretext to expand their power and control over citizens. They point to the surveillance technologies implemented under the guise of contact tracing. Others argue that lockdowns were a form of social control designed to suppress dissent. These theories often stem from a distrust of authority and a belief that governments are inherently secretive and manipulative. While healthy skepticism is important, it is crucial to differentiate between legitimate concerns and unfounded conspiracies. It is important to note that governments faced an unprecedented challenge with the COVID-19 pandemic. Their actions, while sometimes controversial, were largely driven by a desire to protect public health. Section 5. Profiting from panic, the pharmaceutical perspective. The pharmaceutical industry played a crucial role in the pandemic response. Companies raced to develop vaccines, treatments, and diagnostic tests. This led to accusations that they were profiting from the crisis. Critics argue that pharmaceutical companies prioritized profits over public health. They point to the high cost of some COVID-19 treatments and the disparities in vaccine access between wealthy and developing nations. While it is true that some pharmaceutical companies profited from the pandemic, it is also true that they made significant contributions to combating the virus. The rapid development of vaccines was an unprecedented scientific achievement. The pharmaceutical industry's response to the pandemic was complex and multifaceted. It is important to acknowledge both the positive contributions and the valid concerns raised about profit motives and access to essential medicines. Section 6. Expert Voices Deciphering the Truth. To gain a more comprehensive understanding of the COVID-19 pandemic, it is essential to consider expert opinions from various fields. Scientists, epidemiologists, virologists, and public health officials all bring unique perspectives to the table. Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, has been a leading voice throughout the pandemic. He has consistently advocated for a science-based approach to combating the virus. However, other experts have expressed dissenting views. Some have questioned the effectiveness of certain public health measures, while others have raised concerns about the potential long-term effects of COVID-19 vaccines. It is important to engage with a diversity of expert opinions. This allows us to critically evaluate the evidence and form our own informed conclusions. Section 7. The Unanswered Questions, Lingering Uncertainties. Despite ongoing research and investigation, many questions about the COVID-19 pandemic remain unanswered. The exact origins of the virus are still a subject of debate. The long-term health effects of COVID-19 infection are not fully understood. The pandemic has also exposed vulnerabilities in our global health systems. It has highlighted the importance of preparedness, international cooperation, and equitable access to healthcare. As we move forward, it is crucial to acknowledge these uncertainties and continue seeking answers. We must learn from the mistakes and successes of our pandemic response to be better prepared for future health crises. Section 8. The Pandemic's Legacy: A Changed World. The COVID-19 pandemic has profoundly impacted our world. It has reshaped our societies, economies, and daily lives. The long-term consequences of this global event are still unfolding. The pandemic has accelerated digital transformation, with remote work and online learning becoming increasingly common. It has also exposed and exacerbated existing inequalities both within and between nations. The pandemic has forced us to confront our own mortality and the fragility of our interconnected world. It has also highlighted the importance of science, public health, and collective action. As we emerge from the shadow of the pandemic, we have an opportunity to build a more resilient, equitable, and sustainable future. The lessons learned from this crisis can guide us towards a better tomorrow.